Hello and welcome as we count down to Scotland versus Brazil in the 2026 World Cup. It's been 28 years since the teams last faced each other in a World Cup tournament. They'll be playing here at the Miami Stadium.
From the BBC Sports Centre, we'll bring you the team lineups, who will start up front for Scotland, and will Neymar play for Brazil?
No Scotland, no party. Thousands of fans are gathering here in Glasgow as they count down to their match against Brazil at the World Cup.
We'll get the thoughts from our panel of Tartan Army fans tuning in from home to watch Scotland step up their game on the world stage. There's just 1 hour and 59 minutes until kick-off. The stage is set. The world is watching. It all starts here. A very, very good evening to you. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm Laura McGee, live from London. We are counting down to a massive match in the 2026 World Cup. Scotland face the 5-time world champions Brazil in their final group stage match. The aim for Steve Clarke's side, well, it is simply just to get out of the group stage and get into the knockout stage for the very first time in their history. Well, let's head to Miami Stadium where we can join Lewis Irons, who is there live for us. Lewis, tell us about the atmosphere there as we are counting down to this huge game.
Yeah, Laura, it's starting to build here gradually. There were some fans inside the stadium around 3 hours before kick-off. We are naturally a lot closer now, so it is starting to get a bit busier. So the atmosphere great in the stands, and I was hearing as well, very good amongst the squad, having spoken to a few of the backroom staff that arrived earlier. They were saying it's a nice calm atmosphere in Steve Clarke's squad as they prepare to take on the 5-time winners like you mentioned, Laura. But what sort of mood is the head coach in? Let's hear his thoughts.
As a coach, to be involved in a World Cup match against Brazil, one of the most iconic teams in the world. First memories of the World Cup for me were probably the 1970 Brazil team, who were absolutely fantastic and great to see for a young boy growing up. And you grow up with that love of Brazil, but we have to not love Brazil and love Scotland more.
And here is how it stands at the moment. Scotland sitting in third place, knowing that a win or a draw would guarantee that progression to the knockout rounds. A defeat could even still do the job as long as it wasn't too heavy a defeat. But even then, if results go Scotland's way, who knows what could happen. So it's looking not too bad just now. That is the state of things for Scotland at the moment. But back here at the stadium, Clarke and his players will be out on the pitch very shortly to take a little bit of a look around the pitch and the surroundings, get in game mode, and then of course we will hear the team lineups very soon as well. And I believe, I could be wrong, but Brazil have arrived here at the stadium now, so that just tells you the atmosphere is starting to get quite exciting here.
Brilliant stuff. Lewis, I've got to know, what's the situation with the weather there? Because I know that some of the journalists had been put into a room, they've been brought back out, not clear what's happening. We know that there's maybe some inclement weather on its way. How's it looking?
Well, Laura, I was due to have a live out here pitchside earlier, and right on cue the heavens opened, so we had to scurry through the stadium, find a spot that FIFA designated us for our lives should that happen. It was inside the press room. Even then, Laura, there was a drip coming through to the press room. That's how heavy the rain was. It has passed just now, but we are hearing it might pick up again later. Will that suit Scotland and maybe disrupt Brazil and the Samba stars like Neymar and co? Who knows?
Who knows indeed. I've got to ask about how the fans have been doing in Miami, because a lot of the conversations ahead of this match in Boston at the 2 earlier group games was how great the Tartan Army have been over there in the USA. Has it been any different now that they've headed to Miami?
No, a lot of the atmosphere has still been absolutely remarkable. The numbers are incredible as well. What I will say though is the heat takes it out of you very differently here. It kind of feels like the last day of a stag or hen do when the energy levels are sapped a little bit. So there's a few people that are struggling with that, but they'll be in boisterous mood towards kick-off here. And yeah, it's a little bit cooler in here because of that rain. So here's hoping that will help the crowd as well.
Fingers crossed. Thank you very much, Lewis Irons. We will come back to you at Miami Stadium at another point during the programme. Let's go to Glasgow now. Ben Phillip is there for us this evening. What's the atmosphere like in Glasgow? I can see lots of very happy fans behind you already.
Well, Laura, as the chant goes, no Scotland, no party. And all I can say is the Scotland fans are here, and so is the party. Around 5,000 fans are expected to pile into the Hydro here in Glasgow tonight to take in all of the action, and they're also hoping to witness something extremely special. Scotland, of course, have already made history in getting to the World Cup, and the fans here are hoping that more history can be made tonight. As you can hear, the musical acts are up on the stage at the moment, warming up the crowd, and the crowd here are really ready for a big night ahead.
In terms of, Ben, how they're feeling for the actual match, what's going to be happening on that pitch? Are they confident? Are they nervy? I mean, they don't seem particularly nervy right now behind you.
No, certainly not. I would say the mood at the moment is one of excitement and anticipation. I've been speaking to a few fans already, and maybe some pre-match nerves starting to creep in as kick-off approaches. But fans here have really waited a long time to see Scotland at a World Cup, some 28 years. Some fans indeed have never seen Scotland at a World Cup, so there really is a sense of occasion. Let's speak to a few of the fans at the moment. Apologies for how loud it is. Hello there. Hello. How are you feeling? And what do you think the score is going to be?
2-1 Scotland.
Do you think Scotland can do it tonight? Do you think Scotland can do it? Well, as you can see, the mood here is one of joy and occasion. A lot of very happy fans here. Hopefully that'll be the same after the final whistle goes tonight. This is the feeling among the Tartan Army here in Glasgow. Excitement, a few nerves, and people here ready for a really big night ahead, Laura.
Ben, thank you very much. Ben might need to take cover for a little while. It's looking a bit rowdy there already in Glasgow. And actually, it looks a little bit like it's 2 o'clock in the morning already there. They seem like they're very much in party mode. Right, let's speak to some more fans. I'm delighted that we are joined by 6 and plus really more fans to talk about Scotland's chances today. Thank you very much for joining us on the programme. We really appreciate it. So, Erin, tell me, how excited are you for tonight's match?
I'm absolutely buzzing. Like, as soon as it hits 11, I'm straight on watching the game, like really wanting them to win. But I'm actually really nervous as well. But I'm definitely going to be having a few drinks later because Scotland's better going to win, so they're going to win. And that's all I've got to say about it.
Hopefully that's not all you've got to say about it, Erin. We do need to keep you for a wee bit longer on this programme. Esme, let me chat to you. So have you, your friends, your family, have you been getting excited in the build-up to this game? Are you confident that this team can win tonight?
Yeah.
Tell me what you and your friends have been up to at school.
We've been celebrating and making we've been making Scotland stuff like kilts and
football tournaments.
Playing football tournaments and making kilts and stuff.
Oh, great stuff. Well, it sounds like the school's got completely involved in the build-up as well, which is fantastic to hear. And actually, there's been so many younger people in Scotland buying the strips. They've sold out of the strips many times over in Scotland. So it's been hugely popular, this specific tournament. Wojtek, I just want to speak to you because you've got a connection with one of the Scotland players. Tell me about how you know Scott McKenna.
Well, I am a PE teacher at the high school that Scott McKenna attended all these years ago, and I had the pleasure to teach Scott and see from the early days, from the age of 12, 13, how good of a footballer he was. And I am not surprised at all that he's actually made it to this level. I mean, he always stood out on a football pitch, but what a lovely guy. I mean, he was just such a humble, level-headed pupil at school in those days, and you know, I think that's the kind of man he is. But just a fantastic person to have worked with all these years ago, and you know, I hope and I wish all the best to Scott and the team tonight.
Brilliant. Now, in the top corner here, we've got the band. At the bottom corner here, we've got Just the Brave, the band. You guys have been very excited ahead of this World Cup tournament. So excited that you've released your own song. Where did that come from?
Absolutely. I mean, we're all massive football fans. I mean, and the first kind of line of our song is about John McGinn. We all absolutely love that man through and through. So it's all just about the love of the game and love of Scotland. Absolutely.
Brilliant stuff. Well, hopefully we'll be able to hear a little bit of that song a little bit later on in the programme. So make sure the vocal cords are warmed up in time for that. Olu, what would a Scotland win tonight or a Scotland draw? I mean, even a Scotland loss at this stage is potentially enough for Scotland to get through to the knockout stages. But what would progression through to the knockout stages mean to you?
It will be a historic one. It will be fantastic. It will be out of this world. I mean, you can see one of my girls here already with me, getting ready for this historic night. So I don't know. I'm sure it's going to be so much excitement, not only in my house, but even in the estate, across the estate. So we're looking forward to this. Let's create history, Scotland. Come on, lads.
Come on, lads, indeed. What we can see now is actually pictures of the Scotland bus turning up to Miami Stadium. They've just pulled up now. The driver is getting prepared to open the doors, it looks like, and they will no doubt be filing out very, very shortly. Of course, Miami Stadium is where this game will be taking place. 65,000 is the capacity of Miami Stadium. We're wondering whether or not the weather is going to play a part in this game. We know it's going to be hot. Whether or not that will benefit the Brazilian players more than the Scottish players, some people would say. We were just seeing there, that was Shea Adams just leading out. They're coming out in their suits, ready to head into the stadium and prepare, get ready for warm-up and get ready for the match as well. That's Scott McTominay there, who of course many people saying key player for this Scotland game, but some people would potentially say he's not come out and done the best performance that we were expecting in this tournament so far. Fraser, let me come back to you. Fraser, who's our fan at the top there. What would it mean to you for Scotland to reach the knockout stages of the World Cup for the very first time in its history?
Yeah, it would mean a lot. You know, this is my first time seeing them in a World Cup, and I work at the National Stadium as well, so we've seen the campaign right the way through. So I'll be out with a few friends for kick-off and a few of the boys that work at the stadium as well. So looking forward to it.
Well, we are indeed looking forward to it. Thank you very much, fans. Enjoyed speaking to you. I will come and speak to you again shortly. Thank you very much for that. Let's now speak to Hugh Ferris, who's our sports presenter at the Sports Centre in Salford. Hello there, Hugh. Now, obviously, Scotland would prefer a win. Obviously, they would then prefer a draw, probably. But if they lose, there is still a chance that they can progress through. Tell us all.
Yeah, we're spending all these first weeks of the tournament, Laura, and indeed the first whole phase of the tournament, only getting rid of 16 of the 48 teams, 70 plus games to get rid of those 16 teams. Those 16 are the ones that finished fourth, so that's 12, and then the remaining 8 best third place teams, they will go through, dropping the bottom 4 out of the tournament. This is what Scotland fans potentially, depending on how things go later tonight, will be obsessed with over the coming days. And one of the disadvantages that Scotland face is that they don't actually have agency after tonight. They will potentially be in this list of third place teams at the World Cup, but then they won't be able to affect it because they will already know what kind of mark they are setting for the other 10 groups that finish after them. The games that are currently going on involve Bosnia. Now, Bosnia-Herzegovina, they started their game against Qatar with 1 point. They, if they win, they are winning 2-1 currently in that match in Seattle. They will go to 4. And look what happens just with a win for one of those teams in these 12 third-place current teams. They go all the way to the top of the table above Sweden, and where Scotland sit second alongside Sweden on 3 points. So there is going to be a huge amount of change. You bear in mind as well that if a team wins, they might actually go out of the table because they might be second or indeed first. We are assuming a little bit tonight that Morocco beat Haiti in the other game and go to 7 points. And so therefore the question is, can Scotland either get themselves out of this table by going above Brazil into second, or will they stay here because of what happens if it's not a win? So imagine this scenario. Scotland draw the game, they go to 4 points, they will still be behind Brazil, and they will be part of this table. If they lose the game, this is the crucial part of it. Goal difference will separate all of these 12 teams. No head-to-heads or anything, they haven't played each other. So if Scotland lose by a goal, they will go to a goal difference of -1. That will then be measured against all the other teams should they finish on the same number of points as them. And, crucially, according to Opta, if Scotland have a 0 goal difference and they're in this table, their chances of going through are 94%. If it drops to -1, 95%. If it drops to -1, suddenly it goes down to 84%. -2, -3, precipitously it drops after that. So it's crucial, as we've been saying, Laura, that if Scotland are to lose, and they will not be planning for this at all, if they are to lose, losing by the least amount of goals possible will not only stand them in good stead in terms of their morale after the game, but also that table, crucially, it could matter when those other 10 groups that follow them produce their third-place team as well.
I've got a feeling, Hugh, if Scotland don't win or draw tonight, that people are going to be furiously refreshing that page on the BBC Sport website like nothing else over the next few days. Thank you very much for that, Hugh. We will return to you shortly. Let me now have a conversation with Stephen Smith, who's a sports psychologist. And hopefully, Stephen, you can give us a flavour, a little bit of insight as to what some of these players might be thinking ahead of this game. We often talk about Scotland being underdogs. Mm-hmm. Does status as an underdog help the players psychologically against a team like Brazil, would you say?
I actually think it helps. I think for Scotland, going in against Haiti, that was actually more challenging for them, because you have this huge expectation that says you need to win. Now we have a situation where everyone's going, well, it's Brazil. Brazil's going to beat you. So to a certain extent, for a lot of the players, it takes the psychological pressure away, because what can go wrong? We lose. Well, it's the #1 team in the world, so what are we expecting? So I'm hoping that allows Scotland to go out and play with much more freedom than they've had before. But it's a really difficult psychological position. And we've just heard Hugh talking about, well, what if? Well, if we get a draw, brilliant. So don't push forward too much. But Brazil are in the same situation, because Brazil are looking at it and saying, well, what we don't want to do is lose and drop into 3rd position. So we don't know how each team is going to play. And to a certain extent, neither do the players. They won't really know until they've settled into the game as to how they're going to react. And of course, everyone's an individual. There are some players that are just going to absolutely love this, but there are some players that will find it terrifying. And that's where the coach is absolutely vital. And the support team. And I don't know if Scotland have their own sports psychologist in the team, but that's what they should be working on, and saying, well, for this player, we need an arm around the shoulder. These guys here, it's fine. They will handle it, no problem. These guys here need a rocket.
Need support.
Up an orifice somewhere.
I wonder, though, what is the difference between your mindset with a game like this that you know you don't necessarily have to win? Does that change things, knowing that you can just draw? Does it mean that your foot's off the pedal a little bit subconsciously?
Yes, and that is absolutely the risk, because the players will be saying, do we actually put our foot on the pedal and step into this Brazilian team, push them, see what we can get? If we had no points and we had to get 3 points, well, you know, that's what we've got to do. There's no doubts. There's no, I'm unsure. But this Scotland team, because we're one of the first teams out playing, we don't know what's going to happen in everyone else in the table, saying, well, do we push it? Do we hang back and not play? But as I said, I really hope that Brazil are feeling the same way, saying, do we push forward, and then these Scots that we're supposed to beat get a last-minute goal? That'd be really problematic for them. So I'm hoping that the Brazilians feel just as flummoxed by this very odd situation that they're in. But it's a really difficult situation for both sets of players, because they're not quite sure what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And of course, Steve Clarke is keeping his cards close to his chest.
As always.
He hasn't called me yet. So
Not yet.
Tell me what's happening.
Well, you better go and check your phone, Stephen, now, and make sure you tell us if he has. Thank you very much, Stephen Smith, sports psychologist.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you. Let's now go to Aberdeen. Tyrone Smith, our sports reporter, is there. So Tyrone, we've been hearing all about what the Scotland fans are thinking ahead of this match. I believe you are surrounded by Brazilian fans. What's going on there?
Yeah, Laura, I'm here in Aberdeen city centre. Or am I? In Rio. Take it away, guys! Still hear me, Laura. I'll spoil the surprise. I am actually here in Aberdeen city centre. I'm at Casa del Fuego. It's a Latin-themed bar, restaurant just off Belmont Street, right in the city centre. They're expecting over 300 fans packed in here to watch the game tonight. There'll be a lot of Scots, but as you can tell, there's going to be a lot of Brazilian fans as well. The Scots are going to bring the saltires and the kilts. The Brazilians are going to bring the colour, the samba drums, the sequins, the feathers, the boas. I haven't got mine on. Yeah, they always say no Scotland, no party. I would say on the basis of this, it's maybe no Brazil, no party. If I can just start with speaking to some of you, tell us how you're feeling going into tonight's game.
I am extremely excited. I've done this before, Scotland versus Brazil, as you can see here, a few years ago. And we are very excited, but we support both Brazil and Scotland, because Scotland is our home. Aberdeen's our home. Yeah.
And you think the Brazilian party is quite good, don't you?
With Brazil, always party.
And I know you've been heavily involved in tonight. How big a night is this?
Well, it's very special, like Brazil and Scotland, again, after 28 years, for us it's a lot, but means a lot. So then it doesn't matter who's going to win, who's going to be like in the end, but we are support each other.
It almost feels like quite an emotional night potentially, because it's a big night for Brazil, but a big night from a Scottish point of view, because so many of you have made your homes here and have been made so welcome.
Yeah, it's such a good night and so nice to be here tonight. It's going to be a good match, and Scotland is also our home, and may the best team win.
I'll just work my way along the line here. I like your face paint, that's attracted me. Who's going to win tonight?
I think it's Brazil. I was just speaking to her. I predict it's going to be Brazil. Nothing else, just Brazil.
Who does a better party? The Scotland fans or the Brazilian
fans?
Brazilian
fans!
But
Scotland's good.
Scotland's a good contestant as well.
You can hear the Scotland fans are starting to sing in the background. I'm just going to work my way along the line here. Now, can I just ask you, What's your prediction for tonight? How big a night is this? You can really sense the carnival party atmosphere.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. It's one in a lifetime. 28 years ago, Scotland was expecting to be doing this Brazil. I'm so excited, so happy to see the game. I can't wait.
Now, in amongst all the Brazil tops, there are a few Scotland tops in here. There's a couple right beside me here, a Scotland bucket hat as well, with the Brazil face paint on. Who are you supporting tonight?
Scotland. Scotland.
What are your thoughts going into this? You're a bit outnumbered here.
Big time. I'll take a 1-1 though. That'll do me. 1-1 tonight. Perfect.
Are you feeling confident?
Yeah. Why not? I've got to be, or I'll get a hard time from my wife.
If we're talking about the Brazilian party, we can hear the No Scotland No party. Guys, who does the party best? I should say that we're hearing them all making noise. I could carry on waffling all night here. I can't actually hear what you're saying, Laura, so I hope you can still hear me. But I'm told, rather than me having the last word, there's a bit of a collaboration between the bagpipes and the samba drums. So I'm going to step to one side, and I'm going to let the drummers and the bagpipes do their thing. Off you go, lads!
Thank you very much, Tyrone Smith, in a bustling Aberdeen. The party atmosphere well and truly underway there. These are the scenes outside Miami Stadium where tonight's match is taking place. You can see a mixture of Scotland fans and Brazilian fans with their tops on, heading in and around the stadium. Let's join Lewis Irons, who's inside Miami Stadium for us this evening. Lewis, I've got to find out, after the win against Haiti earlier on in the tournament, in their first Group C match, what was the response to that amongst the Scotland fans? We haven't spoken to you since then. What was their reaction? Was there very much a party atmosphere in Boston after that? It's something similar we could hopefully expect tonight in Miami if they do get a good performance on the pitch?
Yeah, Laura, I think the immediate reaction was positive, of course. It was a World Cup win, the first that the Scotland team had achieved since 1990. So that was a significant result, of course, but I don't think the significance of it truly set in until a few days later when we started to see some general upsets across the tournament, the likes of Spain slipping up, of course. That really made it sink in a little bit more with Scotland supporters. But Morocco was probably even more positive in terms of a performance. Certainly that's what fans out here thought. And for Brazil, I mean, there's so much to play for, so much hope still alive within the stadium, which is starting to fill up now, and the atmosphere is really quite something.
Have you met supporters that have been travelling out there from miles and miles away? We've been hearing all the stories of people getting out there, last minute flights booked, last minute tickets booked as well. What are the stories you've been hearing out there in Miami?
Well, I don't think I've met a fan who hasn't travelled from a continent around the world. There's been someone from every corner of the globe that I've been speaking to. It's quite remarkable. And last minute tickets as well have been a bit of a hustle and bustle around here. People always looking to have travelled here with no ticket and hope of getting one. I include my dad in that, by the way. He made a last minute journey to get here. He's got a ticket though, which is great news for him. So you can just hear the stories everywhere you go. The hope is high as well in terms of fans still trying to get tickets. I know there's some still trying to get them as we approach kick-off now. So yeah, there's such a good atmosphere here, Laura, and everyone just wants a slice of it from a Scottish perspective.
And what have they been saying about the performance on the pitch? There have been lots of discussions about maybe Scotland holding back a little bit, perhaps some of the choices that Steve Clarke's made not going down overly well, and of course that result against Morocco, that very, very early goal against Morocco as well, disappointing to some people. What have they been saying about the performances on the pitch? Because obviously the party atmosphere has been great, and I think in terms of the World Cup fans table, I think Scotland would be way up at the top of that one. But in terms of actually performances, how do they feel like it's going?
Well, Laura, that's a good question actually, because we've been asking that question as well of fans out here, because you might be able to tell me more, but I think the general consensus back in Scotland seems to be a little bit more negative about the performances. I think people that have been in the stadiums on the ground here have been quite positive. I found that out when speaking to fans up in Boston and then on Miami Beach over the last couple of days as well. But maybe that is just because they're soaking it all up here and it's maybe gone to their heads a little bit, amongst other things perhaps. But I think generally it's a bit of a mixed bag. Fans back home, maybe a little negative, fans out here quite positive, so the reality is probably somewhere in the middle, isn't it? Let's see if Scotland can step up against the 5-time world champions.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate thing to say there. Fans back home in Scotland maybe a little bit more negative. Fans there very positive. Thank you very much, Lewis. We'll come back to you shortly. Let's return to our fans who have been listening and watching for the last wee while. Let me speak to you, Wojtek, and tell me, who do you think is going to be a standout player in this match? We don't know the team lineup just yet, but who do you think could be key for Scotland out there?
I believe that Gannon Doak, for me, is a player that poses the biggest threat. I would start him. Of course, I'm not telling Steve Clarke how to run his team, who am I to tell him what to do, by all means. But Gannon Doak, for me, is a threat. He needs to run at these defenders, causes chaos in the defensive line of Brazil. You know, they're vulnerable. We can score a goal thanks to him. McTominay may be playing just slightly behind the striker, as he does for Napoli. Just maybe Shankland, you know, that he seems to be always in the right time, the right place. So if the cross comes in, I just hope the boys really go for it. You know, no regrets. Just go for it and give us a good game. And they are there for the taking. I believe they're there for the taking. So fingers crossed.
Erin, how have the nerves been building ahead of this game, knowing that it essentially all comes down to this game and whether or not they will progress through to the next stage of the World Cup?
Yeah, 100%. The nerves have been all over the shop. Like, it's a mix of excitement, and then there's like the nervous side, and it's like you have to be optimistic, but then you have to be realistic, and it's just been building all night. And I feel like once we actually get into the game, then that's when they'll calm down a little bit. But even then, I think I'll still be on the edge of my seat because of the nerves.
Fraser, if they do progress through, would you ever think about making a last-minute effort to get yourself out to the World Cup to see them in action in the knockout stages?
Well, I wanted to be out there, but my old man said no, I need to stay and look after the dogs whilst all my mates go. So if I had the chance, I would be there for sure.
What a shame. What a shame. Well, you can hold that against your father for a long time. Just the Brave, I spoke earlier about how you've released a song for this World Cup. I think it's only right that we would hear a little bit of it on the programme, if you don't mind. Just tell us what it's called and what the thought was behind it first.
So obviously going into this World Cup, you know, Scotland, we're about to make history, right? And we're thinking of all these different things while we're writing it. So the song's called Go Scotland Go, and it's basically about our love of Scotland and football.
Right, well, we must hear some then. Take it away.
Go Scotland, go. Italian army's on its way. Go Scotland, go. Italian army's here to stay. We walk more than 500 miles to hear that happening roar. Go Scotland, go Scotland, go. Woo!
Brilliant stuff. Well done. A round of applause there. Eventually from everyone on the wall. Slow to start there, Thank you so much, fans. We'll speak to you again. Thank you very much, Just the Brave, for your song there. Great stuff. Thank you very much. I want to bring back in Stephen Smith because we want more of your thoughts. And Hugh Ferris has joined us as well at the BBC Sports Centre. I know that Hugh's got some questions of his own. But first of all, can I just ask, Stephen, how can you tell if a team on a pitch is struggling psychologically?
Typically, the behaviour that will stand out is when their big players begin to have a go at one another. Instead of being supportive to one another, and even captains, Roy Keane and what have you, will shout at players, it's when they start to go into this nippy behaviours and display body language that says, I'm not happy with you, because clearly you, colleague, are the problem, because it's never me, it's everyone around me. That's what human beings do. And when you start to see that sort of behaviour, you know that that team is struggling. And the opposition knows it as well. They see it and they can sense it. And it's a primeval aspect of humanity, is predator or prey. And we've seen that when a team is 2-0 up and it starts to then try and pull back, the other team says, wait a minute. We can now go forward. They've had us on the ropes, but now they're scared. So when you see those sorts of behaviours, it brings the opposition in on top of you. So those are the types of things that I would be looking for and advising and managing. We need to deal with that, nip that in the bud.
Yeah. Hugh, we don't have the team news just yet, do we? But I know that you've got some questions for Stephen as well.
Yeah, that's right, Laura. We are furiously refreshing all our sources to find out what the team news is. As soon as we get it, we'll bring it to you. But my question for Stephen is that element of recall that we talk about with elite sportsmen and sportswomen all the time. They can call upon the experience of things having gone well. That bolsters them, and also in adversity, that helps them to respond again to such a situation. But we talk about it so vaguely. Can you tell us how it is that players, perhaps in the situation that Scotland found themselves against Denmark, for example, in that crucial World Cup qualifier, how much can that inform how they respond to things going well, or if there's a setback like there was so early against Morocco?
Well, brilliant question, Hugh. And as a psychologist, those are the type of things we train. So that's visualization. And all of the best athletes in the world, and possibly Tiger Woods is the greatest example. I know that's golf and not football, but the skills are transferable. What we want people to do is retain those positive memories. So if I had been working with the Scotland team, I'd be saying, right, okay, guys, I want you to remember what it felt like, what it made you feel when Denmark got back to 2 each. What happened there? How did you cope? How did you feel? And remember the feeling of euphoria and success at the end when Kenny McLean lobbed it over Kasper Schmeichel. You want people to remember those positive memories, and you want to stop the scar tissue. I mean, we all talk about mental scar tissue. Those connections in the brain about when things didn't go so well. The greatest athletes in the world, team or individual, are very good at saying, actually, I'm getting rid of that negative memory. I'm not going to lay it down in my long-term memory. And I am only going to remember all of the positive things, the things that we came back when we were 2-0 down at half-time, the times that we went out and we just played incredibly well and we were in the zone. That's what you want people to remember. If you can get that subconscious part of their brain thinking about those positive feelings and memories and emotions, because we are an emotional creature, then you are more likely to be successful. And it's all about, you talked about the percentages in terms of the chart before, it's at 95% and then it slips away. It's all about probabilities. As a psychologist, how do I set somebody up so that they can go out and have a higher probability of being the best player they can be?
Can I just ask how important it is for the big players to be performing well on the day, and how much of an impact that has on the other players? So we talk a lot about Scott McTominay being so important for this side, John McGinn. If they're having a good day, how does that bleed down to the other members of the squad?
Look, you're absolutely correct. Within any dressing room, you have your natural leaders. You have the individuals that the other individuals look to and say, how are you reacting to it? And I also work a lot with blue light services, and that's exactly what we tell the leaders when they're dealing with a crisis or on an emergency situation. You understand that everyone that you are leading is going to look at you. So your captains, and basically, we know we don't have vice captains in football, but that what the team consider to be the vice captains, the leaders of that dressing room, the other players will look to them. And if they can maintain that positive attitude, and it's more about positive attitude, they don't actually have to be playing brilliantly as individuals, but if they can maintain that positive attitude, that will, emotions are incredibly contagious. And if they see those players beginning to wilt, that emotion will just spread through the team. If they see a McTominay standing up and saying, I don't care, it's Brazil, I'm still going to go out and be the leader I can be on the pitch, the others will feed off that, and that will become contagious throughout the Scotland team.
Well, hopefully that's exactly what happens in a couple of hours' time. Stephen, thank you very much. Hugh as well, thank you very much. I just want to go over here and join Lewis Irons, who's at Miami Stadium. And Lewis, you've perhaps got some of the most important news of the night so far. We know who is lining up in that starting 11. Tell us all.
Absolutely, a lot of the team news is out, and Steve Clarke has slightly changed shape again. It looks like a 4-2-3-1 with 3 players making their way into the starting lineup, including Kenny McLean, Ben Gannon-Doak and Lawrence Shankland. So the team set up in a 4-2-3-1 with Angus Gunn in goals. Nathan Patterson and Andy Robertson are the 2 fullbacks either side of Jack Hendry and Scott McKenna. The midfield, Lewis Ferguson and Kenny McLean are sitting in behind Ben Gannon-Doak, Scott McTominay and John McGinn, with Lawrence Shankland leading the line. So quite a bold and quite an attacking change from Steve Clarke.
Not what we were expecting, I don't think.
No, I think it surprised a few people, that one. The Shankland one's interesting. Some people think that he is not so much an important player off the ball, and when a team like Brazil are going to dominate the ball, you would think that maybe the physicality of a Lyndon Dykes perhaps might have been favoured here. But Steve Clarke clearly has belief that his team will get opportunities. If they fall to Shankland, he'll be hoping he can put them in the back of the net and make a bit of history for his team tonight.
That would be nice. Thank you very much, Lewis. So Lewis, just breaking that news there. We have the team lineups. Hugh can join us now and unpick it a little bit for us, Hugh. And I'm just saying there to Lewis, maybe not what we were expecting there. People probably not expecting Shankland. Maybe a lot of people expecting Shea Adams and Gannon-Doak as well, who has been great. He's been very fast. He has been very speedy, impactful when brought on. So unpick it for us. What can we see from this squad?
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it? All those questions that we had about this Scotland team and where Steve Clarke might make the changes. Well, he seems to have made the changes in every single area. McKenna, McLean, Shankland and Gannon-Doak. Would Henry be playing alongside Grant Hanley or Scott McKenna? It's Scott McKenna. Would Ryan Christie keep his place, or would Kenny McLean come in? It's Kenny McLean. And would Ben Gannon-Doak start after he did against Haiti, but got cramped, needed to be taken off, came on as an impact substitute in the second game and really helped Scotland grow in that game. He got about half an hour or so. He starts on that right-hand side, and that shifts John McGinn over to the left-hand side, and it is Lawrence Shankland up front. Shea Adams, a willing runner in that Morocco game, but perhaps need a little bit more penetration, and that's where the new Rangers man, Lawrence Shankland, comes in for Scotland. So that is the Scotland lineup. Angus Gunn, Nathan Patterson, Jack Hendry, Scott McKenna, Andy Robertson, the captain. It's Kenny McLean and Lewis Ferguson anchoring in midfield. As you say, a 4-2-3-1 shape. Gannon-Doak, McTominay and McGinn are the 3 behind Lawrence Shankland. Let's bring you the Brazil team news, which is fascinating in that it does not have Neymar from the start, but instead, teenager Ryan comes into the Brazil team in place of Rafinha. Rafinha is out with a hamstring injury. Matheus Cunha and Vinicius Junior. That is, despite the fact that Ryan has come into this side, you can just sense these are the players, Cunha and Vini Junior, who have scored all of Brazil's goals so far in this tournament. The rest of the team, that is the same as it was in their last game, their win against Haiti. All 3 goals coming before half-time in that 3-0 victory. Alisson in goal. Danilo, Marquinhos, Gabriel and Douglas Santos. It's Guimarães, Casemiro and Lucas Paquetá with Ryan, Cunha and Vini Junior. So, shall we head to Rio and speak to Tim Vickery? And Tim, as ever, we haven't got Tim, so I'll hand it back to you instead then.
No, I've got some questions for you, Hugh, actually, in the meantime. I've been speaking to some Brazilian fans over the past few days, and a lot of them have mixed feelings really about this Brazil side, especially with the Neymar question. And of course, Carlo Ancelotti had said that he was available, that he had recovered, that he could be picked, and obviously he's not there in that starting 11. What have the Brazilians been thinking of this Brazilian side? Because we're looking at it as Brazil are great. We know how good they are. They're 5-time world champions. But how good is this specific side?
Yeah, why ask Tim Vickery a question about Brazil when you can ask me, Laura? Quite right too.
Why not?
There is a sense that Brazil, who qualified only 5th in the South American qualifying, they lost 1/3 of their 18 games. The South American qualifying takes all the 3 and a bit years to get there, unlike the European qualifying, which takes just 2 years. And it is a sprawling competition, 18 games. And Brazil, up and down, they lost to Argentina twice. They lost 6 out of their 18 games. They have not been hitting the heights of previous Brazil teams. We have come to accept, haven't we, because they've won 5 world titles, that they will always be contenders. They've never missed the finals. They've always been there or thereabouts. But there is a sense that with Carlo Ancelotti coming in to take over the Brazil team, that they did need a little impetus. And he, in the way that he managed Real Madrid, for example, is to give those special players that Real Madrid had a little bit of license to figure things out, attack in the way that they feel is best, and perhaps the way that Brazil have so often in the past been in the thrall of those players like Neymar and more latterly Rafinha, and we've seen that team as well involving Matheus Cunha and chiefly over the last couple of years Vinicius Junior. These are the kind of players that Carlo Ancelotti can get the best out of, make a team out of. And there is, just in the last few months when he's been in charge, a little bit of raised expectations that come the big moments and come the big tournament, that he will get the best out of Brazil and Brazil will be competitors once again.
OK, thank you very much, Hugh Ferris. Hugh actually was correct. We can speak to Tim Vickery now, who is a sports journalist based in Rio. Hello there, Tim. You've probably had some time to look at that team announcement, at that formation that Brazil have put out there. What do you make of it?
Well, first of all, can I give you a good omen? I'm in
please.
Rio here. It's just coming up 10-6. And the spirit of Glasgow has invaded Rio. It's cold, it's wet, it's miserable. So maybe that's an omen. Yes, it's yet another lineup from Ancelotti. In all of his time, it's only been a year as Brazil coach, he's never played the same lineup twice. So it's another new lineup. But this time, very different from the opening game against Morocco. It's the one that we were expecting, with the big change being the Bournemouth youngster, Ryan, coming in to play the right wing. So the base, if you think of Ancelotti as a fan of 4-4-2, and you ask him about it, why 4-4-2? He says, well, that's the shape of the pitch. And if you think of it as a 4-4-2, with Vini and Matheus Cunha up front, with Ryan providing width wide on the right, and Lucas Paquetá, when they're off the ball, defending the space behind Vini on the left, allowing Vini to push forward. So it is the kind of lineup that we were expecting. We're still watching Ancelotti really tinker a little bit and try and find his blend. His attitude to the whole group phase has been a little bit as if it's been a kind of phony war. He wants his team to be right for the knockout stages, but this is becoming an important game. This is the last laboratory test before the real stuff starts.
Tim, where is the biggest threat on this pitch for Scotland, or who is the biggest threat on the pitch?
the biggest threat that this is, I'm afraid you're going to be very disappointed with the banality of my answer, but it's Vinny Jr., Vinny Jr. and Vinny Jr. He scored in both the games so far. Remember the season at Real Madrid where they just lost Benzema as a centre forward, and Vinny Jr., under the tutelage of Carlo Ancelotti, he became the guy who was attacking the space inside the penalty area. And that's the model for what Ancelotti is trying to do with this Brazil side. That's why he's encouraged to stay up the field. They don't want him to come back too much. They want to keep him fresh to run at the Scottish defence. So poor old Messrs Patterson and Hinkie there, the right back and the right-sided central defender, I'm sure there'll be a few butterflies there in the stomach there, because they know that they will be asked to hold and keep at bay one of the world's most difficult players to mark.
Tim, thank you very much for joining us on the programme. Lovely to chat. Tim Vickery there, who is in Rio, although he did say it's a little bit more like Glasgow today, unfortunately for him. Let's go back to Aberdeen, shall we? Tyrone Smith is there. Tyrone, having a chat with the people in the pub there, it looks like. Tyrone, I was going to say how are the Brazilians and the Scots mixing, but actually how are you mixing with the Brazilians and Scots?
Well, Laura, thankfully I can hear you now. You can probably hear that the party is well underway. I don't know how they're going to last tonight, particularly if there's any delay to that game in Miami. There's going to be a lot of sore heads knocking around Aberdeen tomorrow if that's the case. No, it's been a terrific night so far. It's only going to get better. I'm actually joined by 3 guests at the moment. We touched on when I was here earlier how special a night it is. I want to start by speaking to you, Kyle Forbes. You were born in Brazil but now live here. Are you able just to elaborate on just how powerful a night this is for you?
Yeah, it's been really, really beautiful. I mean, never before have I seen so much culture shared between my 2 countries. It's been so nice. We had the bagpipes followed by the samba drums, and it was just so nice, so nice.
I mean, apart from maybe the suntans, there seems to be a lot of similarities perhaps between the outlook of the 2 sets of supporters.
Yes, yeah. We like to party. We both really love to party. So yeah, there's a lot of similarities, and it's been beautiful to see them combined through this, basically. So through the football.
There was a lot of chat going into this game about the impact Neymar potentially could have. I gather he's not in the Brazil squad at all. I'm just wondering what your reaction to that is.
Yes, thank God. Oh my God. I mean, yes. No. It's a shame for the Brazilian team, but for the Scotland one, hopefully we can use that.
Well, enjoy your night. I'm just going to move along the line here now to Stuart and Victoria Young. Now, you can probably tell by the attire, we've got a married couple. The husband falls into the Scotland camp. The good lady falls into the Brazilian camp. Just tell us where you're from and tell us where you're from.
We're staying in Aberdeen.
Yeah, just in Aberdeen.
So what's it been like in a Scotland-Brazil household for this last few weeks?
Oh, crazy. Her mother is there, and she used to say to me, I know Scotland will win, I know Scotland. And I have a daughter as well, and she's half. And she had the past game, she wear Brazilian clothes, and now today she wearing Scotland clothes, so that's crazy.
And from your own point of view, has it been okay? Has there been any football arguments or any of that?
No, it's just a good banter. We're in a group chat with all her family. She's got 4 brothers back in Rio, so we're all just winding each other up for the last few weeks since the draw was made. So no, it's good. Hopefully I'm the one winding them up later. So.
Well, there's not going to be a family fallout tonight, is there, depending on the outcome?
It should be okay.
We'll see. I'm not too sure. My family is not very. Yeah, let's see.
Well, I spoke to Kyle there about the Brazil team news. The Scotland team's also out. Looks like quite an attacking lineup, Gannon Doak and Lawrence Shankland.
It does, yeah. No, that's certainly positive. So it looks like we're going to give it a go anyway. So yeah, exciting game ahead.
Well, listen, may the best team win. Yep. Enjoy the party. Enjoy your night. I'm away off now to have a haggis cachinha. Don't know what that is, but it sounds very nice. Back to you, Laura.
Have fun, Tyrone. Not too much fun, though. Thank you very much. Stay with us. The coverage continues on the BBC.
It's a massive night for Scotland in Group C. They're facing 5-time World Cup winners Brazil, with a place in the knockout stages on the line. Join us from 10 o'clock on BBC One and iPlayer for all the build-up to Scotland versus Brazil. Kickoff is at 11. And as both games in the group happen at the same time, you can also watch Morocco against Haiti live on BBC Two and iPlayer from 10:50. So make sure you stay with us across the BBC for all the build-up, analysis and live action.
Thank you very much, Kelly. There's really no need to go anywhere else, actually. Let's now go back to Miami and to a Miami fan zone with Stephen Godden, who's there. Hello, Stephen. So how are things shaping up where you are?
Hi, Laura. Yeah, welcome to the fan zone in downtown Miami. For those of us not lucky enough to have tickets for the game, this is a really popular spot. Both fans of Brazil and of Scotland, thousands are streaming in to be here in time for kick-off. I'm pleased to say that two Scotland fans have joined me just for a quick chat, Sean and Sam. Sean, first of all, how much are you looking forward to this game?
Aye, quite excited, feeling quite optimistic. I like the look of the starting 11. Hopefully we can keep it tight in the first 15-20 minutes and then take our chances when they come.
Sam, there seems to be a lot of optimism among the Scotland support that I've spoken to today. Do you share that?
Not really, no.
No, why not?
You can answer that.
You optimistic?
Aye, I'm very optimistic.
What makes you optimistic?
We've got good results recently. We've played against good teams. I thought we were better in the second half against Morocco the other night. Aye, like I said, good to see Shankland up front, Gannon Duck starting, and if he gets chances, hopefully he can take one.
How would you like Scotland to approach the game? Because, I mean, you know, they know if they get a point, that'll be enough to get through, but they also know that perhaps just quite a narrow defeat could be enough as well. I just wonder what you think the mentality should be.
Well, we're playing Brazil, eh? I mean,
yeah, we are.
They could easily give us a hiding, but like I said, I like the look of having McLean starting in the middle of the park with Ferguson. Can start win the second balls in there. We can what McGinn and McTominay can do. So aye, hopefully just keep it tight and then frustrate them a wee bit. When the chances come, we take them.
Well, listen, guys, enjoy it. I think that's the main thing anyway, but we'll see. Hopefully we're all smiling when we come out of here. So, yeah, from the fan zone here in downtown Miami, it's back to you, Laura.
Thank you very much, Stephen. Yeah, I sincerely hope they don't give us a hiding. That wouldn't be great for anyone. Let's go back to Glasgow now. Ben Phillip in the fan zone in Glasgow in the Hydro. Oh, everyone looks like they're sitting down now, Ben. Are things calming down a bit? What are they watching?
Yeah, the music is definitely getting louder here in Glasgow, Laura. This crowd is so loud, honestly. If Scotland score a goal against Brazil tonight, they are going to take the roof off of this place. The excitement is building. A few maybe nerves kicking in just before we go to the kick-off. But let's hear from a few of the fans, shall we? Hello there. How are you feeling and how do you think Scotland will do tonight?
I feel sick. I'm so excited. I think they'll do really well. We've been here every night to watch them, and I hope they do it tonight. Yeah, going for them.
And what have you made of the fan zone here tonight? How are you enjoying it?
The fan zone is brilliant. I mean, we were here the first two games as well. The atmosphere was phenomenal, and I'm sure tonight will just be exactly the same. You know.
I mean, Scotland have such a chance to make history tonight. Do you think they can do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think. You know, only losing 1-0 to Morocco is a top 7 team in the world. You know, Brazil, they're maybe not in the best form as they were. You know, maybe a year ago. But tonight's as a good night as ever. You know.
Absolutely. What do you think the reaction's going to be if Scotland get a result against Brazil tonight, or even if they score tonight?
Tears, excitement, shock. Oh, it would be great.
And how have you enjoyed the World Cup and seeing Scotland there? I mean, it's been such a long time since we've seen Scotland at World Cup, 28 years. How have you found it? What do you think the score is going to be tonight?
3-0 Scotland.
3-0 Scotland. Well, there you go, Laura. Some very optimistic and excited fans here in Glasgow. But win, lose or draw tonight, Laura, Scotland still have a chance to make history. And whether it's the fans here in Glasgow, the fans over in Miami, or the hundreds of thousands of Scotland fans around the world, they'll be right behind them. And it's really not long to go now until kick-off.
Thank you very much, Ben Phillip, at that fan zone in Glasgow. Well, these are the live pictures here of the Scotland players on the pitch at Miami Stadium, familiarising themselves with the stadium ahead of their crucial match later on against the 5-time world champions Brazil. Well, thank you very much to our guests, all of them on the programme. We've had our wonderful fans. Thank you very much, fans, and thank you very much, Hugh Ferris, sports presenter at the BBC Sports Centre in Salford. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoy the game later on. You can watch it live on BBC One, listen on BBC Radio 5 Live and BBC Scotland.